Hey guys, it's Jasmine Rodriguez here. Welcome back to my channel. I know I haven't posted in a very long time. There's been reasons to that, but I feel like right now is like a great time to talk about this topic since, you know, it's all over Instagram, it's all over the news, it's all over everywhere. I kind of already hit upon this on my Instagram live the other day, and the amount of feedback that I got was tremendous. A lot of good, a lot of bad, but a lot of people that agreed on this whole stay at home, I guess like hashtag stay at home. I don't even know what it's like saying about the coronavirus. So I kind of just wanted a different input on as to why, you know, you should stay at home. Obviously, a virus that's killing people isn't like convincing enough to people to actually stay in their homes. So
there's people that are dying.
So I figure maybe having a story from somebody would help convince you guys to, you know, stay at home. So let me backtrack. I know people are probably already watching this and like, what's those like ball things like hanging from her arm? I will get to that, but basically, I was hospitalized for a week, and then, I'm just gonna say this now, I do not have the coronavirus. When I was in the hospital for 5 days, they thought that the symptoms that I did have were similar to COVID-19. So they treated me as if I did have it. But luckily I don't, you know. I survived 2020, you know, coronavirus. I did it. But what I ended up having is a really, really bad kidney infection and pneumonia. So that caused me to have chills, to have a fever of like 105.6, which, you know, could have fried my brain. It's already fried, but still not healthy. I had like body aches, I had flank pain, like I was just having a lot of symptoms, especially since I traveled to New Jersey, which is now like the second highest like state that has coronavirus. It's like New York and then New Jersey. So they obviously kept me like isolated in the hospital, just, you know, like the whole 9 yards. But what I want to take the time to explain on here is that the treatment that I was getting, I'm not gonna say like nurses like suck or nurses are amazing. Like the people that were in these hospitals, like you have to realize like there's like a good and there's like a bad, because everyone's scared for their own safety because everyone's risking it for us. So all respect to them, but there are people in hospitals that are, you know, scared. They're like, when I was in the hospital, I didn't receive like amazing treatment. Like my nurses were forgetting about me. Like I was calling call buttons and like people weren't able to come in. I ended up, when I was in the hospital, I spiked a fever of like 104, heart rate like 154. Like I was like shaking, like my knees. Like this is what actually brought me to the hospital, and it happened again in my episode in the hospital. And I was like literally shaking, my legs and my body like were all in a ball, and like they were like convulsing for a good like 5 to 10 minutes. Like nobody came in, and it got to the point where I was like literally like yelling out like help me, like help, until somebody actually came in and asked like, did you like, is everything all right? And they end up having to like still, after, they can't even like come in right away, because since I was labeled a COVID like patient, They have to obviously dress in the right apparel. So as I'm literally shaking and like yelling for help and crying because I'm in so much pain, they still have to get out and get dressed, put their gloves on, put the suit on, put their masks on, put the shield on, put the hat on, like, and then they can enter my room. And that was just like something that I was treated as if I had it. Now, there's people in the hospital that do have it and that don't have it. And it takes up to like 5 days as of now, for certain hospitals, because most places are sending out your coronavirus sample to the CDC, and then you have to wait up to 5 days as of now, to get your results back. But some hospitals are able to do the testing on their own in their hospital, so it can take up to a few hours, like probably like half of the day. But the hospital I was at, they sent my sample out on Sunday and I didn't get a result back until Thursday. So all of that time that I was there, I didn't have it. I ended up having a kidney infection and pneumonia and just that, and I was still treated as if I had COVID. I was sent to the ICU floor with all COVID patients. It was just insane. But point to this story is that if you have coronavirus, obviously don't be selfish and decide to go outside, get treatment, isolate yourself. But even if you don't have symptoms, going outside, you can still be carrying it. And if you infect somebody on the outside and have them end up going to the hospital, they are going to be treated the same way that I was. And like I said, like, I'm not trying to like downgrade nurses or anything, but hospitals are overpopulated right now. When I was admitted on a Sunday night, and then they put me to go upstairs to an actual room on Monday morning, I waited in the emergency room for 3 days, laying in a stretcher, just for a bed to be available for me to go. Because since I still didn't get my test results back for COVID-19, and I was still being ruled out and being isolated, they needed me to be put on a COVID-19 floor. So I waited 3 days, uncomfortable, nurses not really coming in, me having to like change my own piss stuff. Like, I know there's been people like, oh, you had to change your own piss. Well, I had a kidney infection and I was peeing like probably not even every hour, like less than every hour. And I'm hooked up to all these things. Like, I have like machines, I have an IV, I have all this stuff. I can't go far in my own bed, and having to do these things, it's very obviously inconvenient. I'm going to do it for myself because that's what I need to do, but it's not my job. And like, I get the hospitals are chaotic. There's a lot of other things that are going on in the hospital, so people really don't need to be changing my piss like container. But my other point to that is like me going upstairs, you know, like if I was upstairs like in an actual room, the nurses up there were a lot more helpful than the nurses in the emergency room, because you never know what you're going to see in an emergency room. In the hospital rooms, you know exactly what's going on. Every floor is labeled for something, whether it's respiratory, whether it's COVID-19, whether it's like the NICU, like you know what to expect in your unit. In the emergency room, you have no idea what to expect, because there's just people coming in left and right with different symptoms, and you have no idea that, like, what is actually going on. So granted, I do understand that, but this is the treatment that people are receiving, and that's the bottom line, that you can't, if you care about somebody or you care about others, you can't just be selfish. like, because this is never going to get better if you don't stay home. You going out and like, regardless, like I said, I didn't even have it, but I was treated like I did. My kidney infection was so bad that I needed to be on IVs for another 11 days. Yeah, it was a really bad kidney infection. But they ended up sending me home with a PICC line so that I could have an in-home nurse. But I feel like I totally could have stayed in the hospital rather than like being at home and having this in here. Like, I like, this seems like super easy and like whatever, but like, I don't know, the procedure like this goes like to your heart. Like, it is a tube that gets inserted and then it goes all the way to like the artery in your heart. And like, if I had it my way, I would much have rather stayed in the hospital and gotten an IV through my arm. Like, I had it in my wrist and I had it in my arm. I know it seems, it's like easy and a lot of people do have it, but I wouldn't have chose to do this. Like, this is just like, ooh, I just don't want to have it in. There's no visitors. Everything you have to do is like alone. I'm only 22 years old, and this was the first time that I've ever been hospitalized and did not have a parent, a friend, a boyfriend, anybody there with me. I had to go through all of this by myself. I was isolated in a room by myself. I was not allowed to have like a visitor come bring me anything. Like, when I wanted to take a shower, I was just like, you know, shit out of luck. Like, I didn't shower for like 3 days. I didn't have any underwear. I didn't have like, and I was like, I asked them, finally, like, they eventually found me underwear so that I can, you know, take a shower and like be clean. But like, thank God, while I was like waiting to be seen, I had my boyfriend go back home and he ended up bringing me a charger, because if I didn't get that charger before I entered that hospital, I would have been fucked for 5 days. I thought it was a side effect from the medication, but I was just going crazy. Because, and the doctor even told me, like, yeah, it's normal to have hallucinations. I thought these two people came into my room and tried to kidnap me. And I was like getting up like, oh no, like, nurse. So I got up and I'm trying to explain to the nurse that somebody was in here trying to kidnap me, and they like looked to the side and I'm like, look, they're right here. No one was there. And then somehow me and this nurse ended up in the basement, and then I was with another nurse. Like, I was just like, and suddenly I heard a knock on my door, and it was my actual doctor coming into my room. So like, I had no idea what was real, what was not real. Things were like happening. The doctor said it was normal to start hallucinating, that it's not fair to put other people through that. So please just stay home. Like I really can't stress it enough. Like, after being in the hospital, like, I am like terrified to go outside, like to go do anything. Like, I do things sometimes outside in like my backyard, but like out in public, I like don't want to be around people, because like I know how it is in the hospitals now, and like I just don't want anybody to expose me to that, and I don't want to expose anybody else to that. Obviously, I know I'm good because I'm clean and I got the test, but still, I like would rather be in my own home, in my bed, like doing absolutely nothing, than to go outside. Like, it's eventually going to be better. This isn't going to be for the rest of our lives. So like, people are like driving themselves crazy, which is normal, but you have to look at this as like the long run, and not like be selfish and think about yourself right now, that you want to do this right now. You have to think about others. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand about what this epidemic really means. Yeah, so stay the fuck home, folks. Please do it for me, do it for your mother, do it for your grandmother, do it for the whole family, okay?